Hello, everyone. I am late. Apologies. My excuse for this hiatus is the same as my previous excuse. My husband and I ended up in a show, and I did not have the energy to do it, work, and take care of our home. And I have learned that it is best to do bulk recordings and then have them all scheduled and ready to go. I have the year planned, and hopefully that will keep me on time for everything. We were paid at this theater, so it was nice. I would love for this to be something I could do full-time along with my writing, but it's a hobby, so I'm not getting paid to do this. And so sometimes it might have to go on the back burner, but we're making plans to adapt. So, with that out of the way, we are talking about Hera, queen of the Greek gods. So first, as we always do, we're going to discuss her birth. So Hera was born as the daughter of the two titans, Kronos and Rhea. And as we have discussed previously, Kronos decided to swallow all of his children because he was afraid they were going to unalive him, take over, all those things. And part of me wonders if this was an Oedipus sort of situation where it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I might have mentioned that before, I'm sorry. It's something I was in Oedipus, I was in the chorus, and we talked a lot about the self-fulfilling prophecy. So I'm wondering if he had not been violent, swallowed his children, and all those things, if in fact they would have just been chill with dad and not tried to overthrow him. But he swallowed them. And Rhea was at the time with child and desperate to save her son, Zeus. She decided to hide her birth. So she went to a cave on Crete, gave birth, and then she wrapped a stone in swaddling cloth, presented it to Kronos and said, "Here is your final child as of this moment. Swallow away." I'm sure that's not how it really went, but in my imaginings, that's what happened. So he swallows this stone wrapped in swaddling cloth and is none the wiser. Zeus grows up in secret, and when he reaches adulthood, he confronts his father. And with the help of Metis, he concocted a potion that forced Kronos to regurgitate his siblings. They bound him, put him away in jail, and everybody was free. Hera, she emerged like all the others as adults, and among her was Hestia, Poseidon, Demeter, and Hades. And she ended up marrying Zeus and became queen of the gods, because even though Zeus was the youngest, he was the one who saved them from eternal digestion. I don't know. How long does it take for a god to grow up? They were just chilling in their dad's stomach. I wonder what that was like. If it was like Pinocchio's father and the whale in all those things. But anyway, I digress. He became the king of the gods, and she married him, so she became queen of the gods. Hera was depicted as this beautiful, stunning deity in art of Greek mythology. She's just this regal presentation of what you would imagine divine beauty to be. Words are hard. So she has regal beauty, she's majestic, and she often has a crown, or what is it called? A diadem. She also is often depicted holding a scepter. She's got peacock imagery, sometimes just the feathers, sometimes with the peacocks, their colors signifying her grandeur and all of those wonderful things befitting a queen of the gods. She also would wear elegant attire, flowing garments, emphasizing her majestic presence, and often reflecting the styles of ancient Greece. If there was going to be someone who set the trends, it would have been her. But instead, I'm sure that I wonder if there were like people in Greece who took advantage of Hera being, you know, the queen of all things, and had like art depicting her wearing something they wanted to be in fashion, so they were actually setting the trends through her. Kind of like how we do with celebrities and models nowadays. They're not the ones who are coming up with the things that everybody wants to wear, but they're wearing them so everybody does. Just me going down a rabbit hole. Okay. Among her symbols, she had the peacock, which symbolized her association with majestic beauty. She also is represented with a cow, which I'm struggling today. I'm sorry. The cow represents her nurturing nature. There's also the pomegranate, which symbolizes fertility and marriage. She can also sometimes be seen with a staff with a lotus on top, which symbolizes her connection to the heavens. And there's one more. What is it? I should have remembered this one. It's the lion. I'm a Leo. I love lions. Yeah, that one kind of is used to symbolize her protective mama bear, mama lion nature and protecting mothers and children. Now, her purpose in Greek culture was to have someone of high status symbolize many things. We have her nature of marriage. We all know, I believe for the most part. If you don't know, it's fine. But she's a goddess of marriage. And this embodied both the sanctity and the challenges of the institution. Her tumultuous relationship with Zeus reflect the complexities and struggles that can arise within marriage. Through Hera, the Greeks explored the dynamics of marriage fidelity, jealousy, and power struggles. And I sometimes wonder if the siblings knew how much. Well, no, they don't care. Well, I don't know. If they knew Zeus was going to be as much of a problem child as he is, I wonder if they would have been okay with him becoming king of them. Because honestly, one dude against a bunch of other powerful deities, they let him be king. Continuing on with Hera's abilities and purpose, she also has the ability for justice and retribution. She is often depicted punishing those who she punishes Zeus's lovers and illegitimate children, which kind of sucks, because how often did these women really know that they were with a god? And even on top of that, like, a lot of them were tricked into sleeping with him anyway. It's not like they were like, hey, Zeus, hey. She also has this role of punishing people who are also having those kind of problems within their human relationships. Her punishments are a reminder of the consequences of infidelity and deception, even though Zeus keeps getting away with it because he's not the one being punished. Ladies, if you find out that your man's cheating on you, he's the problem. If she knows, she's also part of the problem. Anyway, let that go away into the ether. All right, so Hera also represented the role of women. So her association with women, childbirth, and family underscores the importance of these aspects in Greek society. Her character represents the strength and resilience of women, as well as their crucial role in maintaining the family unit. Her power and authority of the gods also emphasizes her position and actions, which reflect the hierarchical structure of the divine realm. And her position also kind of mirrors the societal hierarchies of ancient Greece. And then interestingly, her purpose was also to help the Greeks understand and kind of conceptualize emotion and conflict. Through the divine lens, Hera's personality is very human. And her stories personify the emotions like love, jealousy, anger, and pride. And the Greeks used myths like Hera's to explore and explain complexities of these emotions and their impact on individuals and relationships. Now, as for her personality, we know she is regal and majestic. She carries herself with dignity and grace befitting her position. I oftentimes imagine Galadriel, and she's often just calm and composed, exuding an air of authority and nobility, while other times she obviously exudes jealousy and vengefulness. But then she's also protective and nurturing. As the goddess of marriage and childbirth, she is protective over women and families and embodies the nurturing aspect of motherhood, often intervening to protect women during childbirth. She's proud and determined. Hera's pride is a defining feature of her character. She is determined to uphold her status and authority among the gods and over people, and often goes to great lengths to maintain her position. She's also resilient and strong. She faces many challenges, especially in her relationship with her husband. I am so glad that my husband is nothing like Zeus. Powers and attributes. We went over many of them. She's queen of the gods, is goddess of marriage and family. She performs divine retribution, but like other gods, she can shapeshift and transform, often using this power and ability to serve her own ends, much like how Zeus would transform to bed other women, but she did it for different reasons. She's also obviously immortal and eternally youthful is what I'm trying to say. She also has control over natural phenomena, like being able to intervene for women during childbirth. She can ensure safe deliveries and protect the mothers. There's one more. Prophetic abilities. Like an oracle, she could often foresee the future and could make decisions based off of her divine insight. My notes kind of are repetitive in the symbol and what she was goddess of. So we're going to move on to the worship of Hera. There are two main temples. There's one on Argos. It is one of the most significant temples dedicated to Hera, and it was built in the 7th century BC. And it features impressive Doric architecture. It was a major center of worship. The temple hosted the Hera festival, which included competitions and sacrifices. There was also another temple on Samos, I'm not really sure. And it dates back to the 8th century and is massive. It's huge and is grandiose, and it was adorned with magnificent sculptures and also received offerings. Like, she would get elaborate offerings at this temple from pilgrims. We talked about the Hera festival. This was an athletic competition and one of the most important events at the temple in Argos. There's also marriage ceremonies. Her association with marriage meant many rituals and ceremonies related to marriage were dedicated to her. Couples would often ask her for her blessings for a successful and harmonious union. She can't have it herself, but she can give it to others. Worship would differ depending on the city, and this mostly had to do with what they had at their disposal to offer her. For example, in Corinth, Hera was worshipped as Hera Acraia, and rituals involved sacrifices and offerings specific to that region. People would also take pilgrimages to offer her different things. It would including statues, pottery, other valuable items, and often things that they symbolized to her. Like her symbols and things, and this would be a sign of their devotion and reverence towards her. In modern worship, a lot of this has been toned down. It's not the Greek pantheon and its mythology are not widely worshipped anymore. It's more appreciated and studied for what it meant culturally at the time of its prominence. But today, you have people who will build little rituals. What are they called? It's on the tip of my tongue. Altars. I had to look at my notes. Altars that will depict her, have like statues, and then will adorn with her symbols. You won't find an actual cow, probably, unless someone is super excited about this, but you might see like images of cows. And all of this is to show a sign of their reverence for her. People will also say prayers and hymns, both ancient and modern, which are inspired by her characteristics and her role. Rituals are still had, and this is more toned down, like I said. It mostly includes like lighting candles, pouring libations, which would be like wine or water, and will perform acts of devotion. And these rituals can be carried out individually or in groups. We also have festivals. The Hellenic polytheists, my mouth wants to say that word differently. Hellenic worshippers celebrate festivals in honor of Hera, still inspired by ancient traditions. For example, they might observe the Hera, which would include them doing athletic feats and all those cool things. And again, could be done in a community or with feasts and all the fun things that would go with that. Those who subscribe to her as a patron also will seek her blessing with marriage and family. Devotees will hope for her blessing during ceremonies, ask for protection and guidance in family matters, and these rituals will occasionally invoke Hera's name and offering prayers for a harmonious and prosperous union, just like they did in ancient times. There are also those who find worship through her by studying Hellenism and like ancient Greek religion and mythology, and they might participate on a community level, discussions, and workshops to deepen their understanding and connection to the gods, including Hera. Ancient Greek art. During the classical period of ancient Greece, which is 480 to 323 BCE, Hera was frequently depicted in sculpture and pottery. One of the most notable works is the statue of Hera for the temple of Hera at Olympia, which exemplifies the idealized beauty of the era. Painted vases also illustrated scenes from her myths. There's also Roman art. They identified Hera with the goddess Juno, which they also created numerous depictions of her. The Campana Hera, which is a Roman copy of a Hellenistic original, is a famous example. And this statue is housed in the Louvre. It's the Louvre. I remember now. The Louvre. Renaissance and Baroque art, we have artists continued to be inspired by Hera. There are paintings and sculptures from these eras, and they often depict her in her regal attire, emphasizing her status as the queen of the gods. Artists like Peter Paul Rubens and others created works featuring Hera in various mythological scenes. And in modern art, Hera's influences extend in everything. And there are contemporary artists, they continue to explore her, the mythology surrounding her. I've seen so many people create beautiful digital paintings. She's in anime, video games, all the things. And it's really kind of cool to see that it's not a character arc, but it's like a character art arc, and just seeing how all of that has developed. Now, speaking of modern day depictions of her in pop culture, we have her in comics. She's in various comics, including DC, the Wonder Woman one. This seems to be where you'll find the goddesses. And she's often portrayed as a powerful and sometimes antagonistic figure, reflecting her complex personality from mythology, because this is a layered woman. She is magnanimous and kind, but also a woman who's just tired of it. Movies and TV. Hera has been featured in several films and television series. For example, she appears in the animated Disney movie of Hercules. This portrayal is so sweet. She's not on there for very long, but she and Zeus seem to be so cozy and so in love, adoring a little Hercules, who in myth is not actually her son. He is a demigod. And as we will get to it in our story section, this part 2. Oh yes, speaking of, I lied. When we do the gods, Persephone was really the only one who, well, okay, so we have one more Greek god we're going to talk about for now. We'll circle back, but I need to change it up. But there will be part 2s because most gods have more information plus stories. And so I was assuming incorrectly that we'd be able to get all of these into one video and keep it into our kind of short-ish time frame. But moving on, we'll talk about Hercules and Hera's relationship in part 2. But there's also some other movies and TV shows, like there was the Xena, warrior princess. She is depicted as a formidable antagonist. I got too excited. She's also in video games. She appears in God of War 3, where she is portrayed as a bitter and vengeful goddess. So there seems to be this pattern of her being portrayed on the more frustrating side aspects of her life, instead of acknowledging that she's also a good goddess. Like, she's a multifaceted person. She's a rounded character, and people are wanting to focus on this one aspect for her, and it's a little sad. There's also literature. She's a reoccurring character in various modern retellings of Greek myths, and authors often explore her complex relationships and motivations, providing fresh perspective on her character. She's actually, I think, really well done in Lore Olympus, just because there's a little more of a magnifying glass when it comes to her in that comic. And I appreciate it because oftentimes people are so focused on one version of her, which is this vengeful, angry wife. But who can blame her? Arts and fashion. She is iconic, and her peacock and diadem, they continue to inspire artists and designers. In fact, my director for the show I was in, she got to go to a ball and performed there. She has a gorgeous voice, and she had a dress made for herself, which was based on the concept came from a book. And I'm wondering, I haven't read this book, but I'm wondering, well, I don't know, but it's peacock, and it was gorgeous, and she looked stunning in it. And it was just very Hera-like in its connection, in how all of that is just its beauty. Hera's majestic imagery is often used in fashion and art to evoke a sense of power and elegance. And sometimes I wonder if people intentionally write characters that personify this in inspiration from Hera, or if this is done accidentally without any inspiration from her. But she was one of the OGs, so there's nothing original in life anymore. You just gotta make it your own. So if you are a writer, don't get caught up on trying to be too original, because somebody has already written your idea. And in some cases, it's a little frustrating, because I know I came up with some things first that other writers have published, but I started when I was 12. Just saying. It doesn't matter though. That is our discussion on Hera and her origins, her powers, abilities, her influence, and all of those things. And you can look forward, I hope, to part 2, where we tell some of her stories, because that's gonna be real fun. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a beautiful, rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, all the things. Be kind. We need more kindness in this world. And don't cheat on your significant other, whether you are married or whatever. It doesn't matter. If you are in a committed relationship, don't cheat. Break up or get a divorce. Don't